Shant, pitch dark, nothing in front, left, right, back, below, above. Light gets lighted at the center of my chest, flooding the Garbhagriha, the temple that is shaped like me in Padmasana, flooded with divine golden light. You need to see, feel it from top of your head to your toes, knees, stomach, shoulders, ears, all parts filled with the light. Pitch dark everywhere. From the depths of the universe, I hear the echoes of my Omkar. Look at the scene. Nothing but dark except for this one divine structure, the temple filled with light, filled with myself, my divine self. Independent, alone, feel the independence, not attached to anything. Anything that got attached to me had a start. Everything that has a start will have an end. Those are temporary associations. Feel the true independence and aloneness. All this happening through my knowledge. So see your existence as knowledge and great infinite source of happiness. Feel the divinity, the light within you. Shan, relax, exhale. Feel it. So, how can diet and nutrition be discussed in a yoga course? But as we know that yoga, the basics are yam niyam, and diet and nutrition is one part of yam niyam. So of course we can cover this, and this is something which is important because finally with yoga you want the mind and body to become better, and with incorrect diet you cannot achieve that. So I'll take an example that you have a vehicle. Remember, there was a time when rickshaws used to add, when the diesel vehicles were there, they used to add rockil, uh, the thing that you get in rationing, the fuel, to diesel, and it would still work. Now that used to be much cheaper than diesel, so they used to think that yes, I'm getting advantage. But it was not the right fuel for the engine structure. If it is not right, it is going to impact the engine. If engine is getting affected, the efficiency is going to get affected. Life of vehicle would get affected. Vibrations would be different. Exhaust would be with more pollution. So similarly, if we have intake which is not right, rightly designed for this structure, then we are going to have problems. So I'm going to make a statement that body by default is immune to any diseases and is made a perfect high quality machine. There are so many things associated with the body which let you know that there are so many backups. When there is a problem, there are storage areas. So like when you take a question that how did ancient human beings survive when they did not know nutrition, they did not know so much calcium is required, they used to not count. Where did the deficits come from? So body has, like liver can store uh, some chemicals, like excess sugar can be stored by liver, and there are various parts where the body has these reservoirs which can get used. So normally when there are problems with our behavior or fuel intake, ideally body gets them sorted by the reserves. But after prolonged misuse of the body, wrong food, these reserves get over, and that is when the disease starts showing. So when, like we know that good sleep is required, but if sleep is not adequate for 3 4 days during young age, there are times when we work 3 days and 3 nights, and there was no problem, or maybe minor acidity, this and that. But once the results start receding, actual diseases like diabetes and heart problem and kidney problems and uh, allergies and so many things start coming up. So, except for cases where genetically there are some faulty bodies which are created, most bodies are immune to everything. I take example of so you would say that no, but we take so many medications, we take so many supplements. Without that, how would we survive? So I have always wondered that there have been cats, dogs, lions, elephants, so many animals there since hundreds of thousands of years. They have not perished. They have not taken mineral water. They have not taken supplements. They have gone through ups and downs. There are times when they have to stay hungry for many days. Still, they have survived. The race has not got wiped off. So there is something wrong that we could be doing. So let's understand that digestive system has some of the inner players and some external players. Inner players is like our teeth, our saliva. There are so many chemical factories built into this body for digestion. So not just for digestion, for digestion, for communication, the neuro system, for the piping system of blood flow, the pumping mechanism of heart. It's a fantastic machine. So it starts with your mouth when you the intake, the teeth, the saliva, then the stomach, which has very strong acid. The acid is so strong that in normal case, most of the wrong things that come in can be burnt there. Then there is liver, which is a extraordinary chemical factory which knows how to handle, how to adjust the chemical balances. Pancreas, which uh, gives you insulin. Such a small organ, such small amount of um insulin that it produces. Intestines is where mainly external players also come in. Collaborative life forms like some bacteria, for example, lactobacilli are there. So there is a complete flora and fauna in your intestine where there are many external living beings which coexist with your body and cooperate. They create some right chemicals for you which are required for the body. And finally, the water balance in the body. So we talk about ideal water balance, but when you are walking in a desert, you have lost a lot of water, body still survives. It is created to manage a lot of variation and deficits. Only if it becomes excess, then we have problem. So, what are the key things that the body needs? First and foremost is oxygen, because with if you consider how much can you live without something, without food, maybe we can live for 30 days, without water, maybe for 10 days. Average person, I'm saying. There are people who can do much better than that with practice. Without oxygen, you may not be able to survive for a couple of minutes also. Second thing we require is sugar. Sugar is bad, you would say. When I'm saying sugar is that glucose which is required by as a fuel for all our body parts. Carbohydrates which finally get converted into sugars. Proteins which are required for your muscle mass. Fats which are required for your energy reservoir and also for lubrication of the joints. Then there are things which are in micrograms which are required like minerals, vitamins, and many other uh, new micronutrients like phytochemicals and all that. Okay, so our food needs to give you all that, and then there are things that we need to avoid also. So now, when we come to sources of food are normally all our sources of food are from other life organism. Could be trees, could be animals, could be bacteria. If you see the food chain, the lowest in food chain is the trees. Trees are the only uh, things that do not make food from other life forms. They make food directly using their chlorophylls in the leaves, at least the green trees. Mushroom doesn't qualify for that. But they make food by chlorophyll, sunlight, oxygen, and carbon dioxide. This is the last uh, part in the food chain. If you take uh, a more complex food chain form, let's say crocodile, which eats a lion, can eat a lion. Lion can eat a bird, bird can eat a rat can eat some insects, but finally it will, that insect or whatever, final part will come to the trees. And trees make it from sunlight. So we are established that tree is the last and lowest form of life in this chain. So if we don't get right fuel, then we will have problems. Um, Imbalances in body, but imbalances, are they only related to what you are putting inside? No, it is also depends on how you carry it, what all you do. And there is a interesting part of mind. This is where we differ from machine, that our mind has tremendous impact on our body. So when you have anger, anxiety, what will happen? Am I secure? Is my job safe? Somebody insulted me, I need to get back to him. um, I've just come from a political debate and I'm upset about it. So all these stresses can cause, you would see that when have anxiety, you are tense, very tense, you would have acidity. If this thing continues for longer period of time, these are the people who are more likely to get other diseases, chronic diseases like blood pressure, heart problems, kidney issues, diabetes, lungs diseases. They'll be more prone to allergies. So I'll give you an example of how much impact mind can have on the body parameters. There is a thing called as psychosomatic disorders. Psychosomatic disorders are mind creating disorder in body. So this example we had seen, we had read about that there was one lady from Western world where her religion did not allow family planning. She had some 8-10 kids, and this factory would have just gone on. But then she developed a paralysis of lower part, waist and below, complete paralysis. Was she faking it? No. But of course, this trouble of going through pregnancy must have had some impact on the mind. So when they check, when doctors check, they are going to put a pin, prick, and see pain is felt. No pain, nothing, no sensation, completely paralyzed lower body. One fine day there was an accident and her husband died. Was she willing that her husband, wishing that her husband died? No. But it happened, and then after a few days, her paralysis just went off. They had done all kinds of tests, the neuro current flow test, and every possible thing. They had given all kinds of medication, massage, everything, but nothing had worked. And this person goes, the cause of her stress, tension had gone. So without her knowledge, the mind had cut off the lower body parts, and then the cause was removed, she became normal. In mesmerism, they do experiments like a water drop is put on your falls on your hand, but you believe it is a boiling oil, and you get a big boil, a foodie, or uh, a bump there, because the body is believing that it is a boiling oil. So mind has tremendous role to play on our body mechanism. So as we said that right fuel, right food, is that enough? No. After that, working out the body using all, like we saw that in while doing yoga, while doing some twist and something like that, you realize that hey, I have not used this function of my body at all till now. Anything not used for a very long time will get jammed and will not be functional properly. So you need to keep the machine running, and you need to work out. That is one part. And about mind, about stresses, you can't just calm them. We have gone through the course where we tried to realize who am I, understand, a correct understanding automatically reduced our stress, and then that helps the body. There is a other way also, that mind impacting body, food impacting mind also we need to take care. In Ayurveda, in uh, spiritual sciences, in yoga, there are types of foods that they have defined, that Rajasic, Tamasic, and Sattvic. Sattvic foods help mind calm down and be more stable. Tamasic foods can create aberrations in your mind. It is like there's a water, but you are putting some strong chemical, some soda kind of thing, and there will be bubbles coming there. And you are putting pure water there, putting it slowly without jerk, not shaking it too much. Shaking is basically being unstable, being stressed. That is not done, then the water will be calm. I forgot to tell you that we wanted to do cover things in this course, but our morning session went on for 1.5 hours, and we decided that other part will have to be taken in the next session, because there is so much that can be discussed in diet and nutrition that one session would not be enough. We were doing it much faster. I'm doing a bit faster now so that I can cover more, so that we don't have to go to the level of 1.5 hours. But morning session, people thought it was very fast, and still we covered half. So other half we'll be covering next time. So for ideal health, what do we need? One is appropriate diet, adequate water. Appropriate diet doesn't mean only what goes in, when does it go in, and other things related to that. Basic minimal exercise is required. I told you that you need to work out joints, you need to work out your lungs, you need to work out your heart to keep them in condition. basic discipline. Discipline is when to get up, when to sleep, when to eat, when not to. So having a basic routine discipline. In fact, in meditation they say that if you have a habit of sitting at one position in one direction in same mahal at same time of the day, then it helps better. So having a discipline is definitely important part. Then you need basic things like intermittent fasting, which will come in detail later on. Discipline of diet, which is part of Yam Niyam. Then you require adequate sunlight. Yes, human body also makes something from sunlight by itself, which is vitamin D3. Vitamin D is important for many other functions to work properly, efficiently. If people who have habit of being in home in AC in a closed environment, no direct sunlight, then sit in car, go to office, again a covered environment, you can go and check your vitamin D levels, and you would find severe deficit in vitamin D. So, so which is absolutely essential for your immune system to work properly. Then optimum level of oxygen, for which we have pranayama, we have aerobic exercises, going in clean air. All these things are important. Now there are so many diet principles. Like there is a diet which says you eat only 2 times, which you up to 50 minutes you can eat as much as you want, because only that is the time. One time there will be uh, infusion of insulin. Some say you eat intermittently many times, small amounts. What is right? So any of these, I have tried 3, 4 different types of diet. There is one General Motors diet where one day they eat only proteins, one day they eat only carbs, one day they eat only fruits, and 21 days diet, and you lose weight. But lose weight is not the thing. We need to get optimum of all necessary nutrients in our body. So I have tried various of these diets. All of them work. So basically, discipline works best, and how many calories you are burning and how many you are putting in. That equation decides how much weight you gain or lose. But I'll tell you about the diet which I believe the most, the cooperative diet. We have discussed that, but I'll go through that again. And cooperative diet involves vegetarian diet, so we'll talk about that also. A disclaimer that I have nothing against people who are eating non-vegetarian food by default. I have same friendship with people who are vegetarian and non-vegetarian. This has nothing to do with religion or any beliefs. This is purely because this course is meant for doing good to people, to their health. So I have no choice but to talk about why vegetarian diet is a better diet. So let's say we discuss about cooperative diet, right? Cooperative diet, how did I describe earlier that if there is a relation where a man has caught a woman and forcefully keeping her as a wife, she wants to escape, she cries, screams every time, but she's kept there. Is this going to produce, how mind has impact on body? Her body would be full of toxins. This will not produce a good, healthy, nice, intelligent child. Not good for that. Similarly, a job, if I want poetry to be written, I hijack a poet and on gunpoint, write a poetry now. Write a poetry about sun rising. Write a poetry, sad poetry. Write a happy poetry. He is not happy himself. How can he write happy poetry? So maybe he'll do some work, but it will not be work of class. That is for sure. So what is best we discussed was a cooperation where the person wants to work for the for his boss, the boss wants him to work for him. I'll tell you, in my company, we proudly say that there are people who have been there for 15 years, 10 years, and half of the staff is more than 5 years with the company, which you would find very, very, very rare or almost impossible in information technology, software business. People jump every year. There could be a reason where they want to work for the company, company wants to, and that is where then we feel that we can do a creative stuff and do some extraordinary stuff. So I'll stretch this thing about cooperation, okay, and the vegetarianism. Um, I'll take a case that somebody is stuck, he doesn't have money, he needs something urgently. So you take full advantage of him and you take something, his house or his jewelry, at one fourth the price because he's stuck. Of course, a person who does this felt good. Of course, it's not true happiness, but he felt good. He had fun. He enjoyed. Does that enjoyment justify the pain that he gave to the other person? I don't think so. Take worst case, someone kills someone else. There is nobody there at that house and one old man, and this person pushes him, makes it look like accident, kills him and grabs the property. He gained a lot, but at the cost of someone dying. Does that sound moral? Even worst case, take a case of rape. The woman, her life may get finished. She is screaming, she is crying, does not want it. But the person who is doing thinks that no, but I enjoyed. How is eating an animal different from this? You try to think. The animal does not want to die. It is screaming, it is running away. After cutting its head also it tries to run away. It in no way wants to participate in this. It's one-sided. But just because one person, his tongue feels good, if it is being done, then I don't think it fits the moral framework. I'll take another example for the. So this I had seen in one video by Manika Gandhi, who had done some research, and with documentary proof and photos she had shown this. That it was about poultry. So in poultry, there are these cages with that net kind of thing, grid. And what happens is these hens, which are kept inside, the birds which are kept inside, they're kept one above other, no freedom, stressful life. They keep eating. Below them, below that cage thing, there's a big mountain of their shit. It just stays there. I've seen a poultry for a software requirement. I had visited a poultry. Is that a hygienic environment? Is that a healthy condition of the hen that, or the chicken, let's say, because that is the food name. Now, what happens is because of those net thing, their fingers and the nails they get curled around that net, around that grid. So then it becomes difficult for them to move or to take them out. So that doesn't happen, their fingers are clipped. So they are in constant pain. They are in constant pain. They are there. They are eating and shitting and giving eggs there. How can this be a healthy environment? How can this be a good? They would have all kinds of toxins, poisons in their body. How can this be a good food? So even for your own selfish interest, suppose forget morality. I don't care what the other animal feels. Okay, let's say we agree that. Even then, it is not good for yourself also. Now there is somebody had argued with me that when you are eating tomato, the blood of tomato is coming out and tomato is screaming and all that. This is a humbug defense of people who have understood that it is not correct diet, but still they want to not give a wrong diet. They want to rationalize. They want to not feel bad about it. So to do that, they create this argument. But why it is wrong is apple or the tomato or anything. These are fruits. Tree wants the fruits to be there so that some animals would eat them. Tree would not want the fruit to be so stinking, bad, rotten, with very bad taste that animals would not eat it. Tree wants animals to eat it so that some seed will fall somewhere and will give rise to a new tree. This is how new trees are being born. It is part of their reproduction system. When you eat fruits, you are actually doing good work of participating in a tree's reproduction process. So you are doing a social work for the tree. So to explain this, the levels of life form, I I tell this story of a plane crash. A plane crashes in a uh, high cap area, mountainous area, very difficult to reach. People survive somehow, but then they have no food, and they know that 15-20 days help will take to come there. It's not very easy for a plane to land there or helicopter to land there, and from land the help is going to come, and then they'll be taken to some area from where they can be airlifted or something like that. So how do they survive for 15-20 days? So they consume all food in the plane. After that, they come to know that some part of seed can be edible. It has some carbohydrates. They eat the seeds, which they would normally never do. Then there are some pet dogs in the thing. People love those dogs. But does it make sense that everybody dies, including the dogs, and no one survives? So, with a heavy heart, with tears in their eyes, they actually decide to eat the pet animals. Now, after that, again there is starvation. How long can people starve? People can starve for a very long time, but in an ideal condition where mind is peaceful. Here they are so stressed that whether they are going to survive, see next day, there are diseases that are hitting them. There is so much cold. So they, and people start dying. Finally, there are two people left. And they know that in few days now the help is going to come. But those few days, if they wait, both of these people will die. They make a difficult decision. They say that it doesn't make sense that both of us die. Let us at least one person, let at least one person survive. So to do that, if they are civil people, then they will decide who is more important, who is required, who has more dependents, and that person will be selected, or who is more useful for society. Well, and if they are barbaric, selfish people, they'll fight and decide the thing. So they decide. The person feels guilt, cannot sleep for 2 days, but he has to eat a human flesh. He survives, then he is rescued. With tears in press conference, he tells his whole story, how things happened. Now he has eaten human flesh. Will he again eat human flesh after coming back to society? No. Will he eat the dog after coming back to the pet dog, coming back to society? No, he won't. So what we saw in this story was there is a gradation naturally that we have done, that higher life form to lower. Human being is the highest life form, because a human being while dying does not think of only his pain, but he has so many attachments, so many emotional things, so many thoughts, and so many crazy non-existent thoughts like bank balance, relations, and so many things. The secrets that he has hidden. So the pain and the reluctance of going is much more in human being. Dog kind of other things, they also have some feelings. So then fish has lesser, or possibly lesser feelings than compared to dogs and mammals. And then finally at the lowest end we have trees, which are the lowest form of life. And so though while eating wheat is a potential life, a new tree is going to come. The kind of pain, the kind of trouble that it may feel at that stage of the wheat form is not that much. So it may not be as bad as killing some animal. But still, if you have a choice between that and a fruit will be a more ethical and more helpful food for body. Now there is a myth about protein. People say that, but if I do not eat meat, where do I get proteins from? So I'd seen a video by a Dr. McDougall or something like that, who is a proponent of plant-based whole food, and she shows a picture of a cow on grass, and she says, "This is the protein. Where does the cow get protein from?" So of course from grass, cow is not getting meat. So how is it getting proteins? So there is protein in grass, in food, in fruits, in potato also there is a small amount of protein. And in pulses and dals we have a lot of proteins. There is much more protein in urad dal compared to more than any meat forms. So so that protein part is a myth. Another thing is that our intestine structure currently is something which supports vegetarian food. So it is a much better way of food for digestion, for the time of digestion. We have these long intestines of 20 plus meters, okay, which are uh, rolled and kept inside our intestine area, which is similar to a rabbit or a deer or some such vegetarian animals. If people have objections, questions on this, I have nothing against. I have friends with equal emotional relation of people having all kinds of diet, and I have no uh, hate or negative feeling towards them. But if someone asks me what is a better diet, I would have to tell you that you need to have a proper, correct diet. I'll come to whole food. We know we require oxygen. It's the most important part of our food, our intake, our body needs. So try taking the oxygen cylinder. Without oxygen, one may stay for a few minutes, but try using only oxygen, and you will have a fast deterioration of your. You will not be able to survive that because body needs oxygen in that oxygen plus nitrogen form. I never say I need nitrogen. I breathe out nitrogen, but I need that diluted oxygen plus nitrogen kind of thing for my body. Similarly, my body needs fats, but do my body needs fats which are separated out from, let's say, peanuts, and then I have it? No, it is not going to be helpful. It is going to be inflammation causing food. Inflammation is something that causes, so our body is full of pipelines, and a pipe has some thickness through which things flow. If we keep taking inflammation causing foods, the walls become thicker. There are layers of things like cholesterol and other things which start sticking there. The pipe becomes smaller, pumping becomes stronger, has to be stronger, heart has to use more energy. More energy means stress on heart, more energy means increased blood pressure. Increased blood pressure means higher pressure in your kidneys or somewhere where it can give problems. Possibly some areas of your body may not get enough blood, and then that is something which will decay your body faster. So I would say strongly no to refined oils, refined food. Refined food means you remove uh, the fiber, dietary fiber from wheat, and you have that maida, refined wheat flour. Refined wheat flour is one of the most dangerous food that people can have today, and most of the people are having that. The pav kind of stuff, which I would say was one of the key things when I fell sick 10 years back. That having that wrong food, going Bombay to Pune, eating vada pav each time as a religious ritual. So, so those things definitely have a bad impact. So even oils, we require oils, but you have it in badam, you have it in like almond, walnut, avocado. Many of other vegetables also have fats. Potato has fats. Then sugars. So you will say that you are saying sugar is the main fuel for body, but it is not this processed sugar. Sugar from fruit, sugar from the food that we eat, which finally every food we eat is converted into glucose. Glucose is required for my body. Our body consists of trillions of cells. We call it as a country where there are many states which are different organs and citizens which are individual cells, trillions of cells. All cells have a outer boundary, all cells have a center. The center needs glucose as a food for survival. So that is required. But sudden intake of a lot of sugar is definitely harmful. Now some people say that no, no, but I am taking brown sugar, I am taking jaggery, which is good, which is healthy. It is a myth. What is jaggery? Jaggery is some additional minerals along with sugar and sugar. Sugar is still there. The harm of sugar is still there. Only thing is it is slightly better because it has some minerals, some fibers still left in the structure. Now, what about diet sugars? Diet sugars, there is no calorie. No, I am not adding calorie. How? I will not get fat. First of all, diet sugars do not give you the same satisfaction level, and you may want to eat more with diet sugar. So, in what happens is like I had become slave to. Uh, I had become slave to diet coke. I had become completely addicted. Yes, it is addictive, and it is only thing which the soft drinks are the only things which do not have ingredients on them. You see, any food item, any medical item in market, I don't know how they managed such a big scam. How did they manage to fool or buy so many governments? But nowhere, there was only one prime minister in India who threw them out because they had no ingredients on them. Morarji Desai, I think. Yeah. But otherwise, worldwide, Coke, Pepsi, and all these do not have ingredients written on them. So, how do I know there is no habit forming drug inside? So what happened was, because I used to not drink tea or coffee, whenever I go for meeting, people used to say, okay, then I have soft drink. And then they would give me soft drink. So with time, I started liking the black soft drinks better because they have more caffeine and those chemicals, like Coke and Thumbs Up and Pepsi and all that. So which soft drink, when a client would ask or a person I'm meeting would ask, I would say anything black. Then it became a habit. And then I thought there is so much sugar. One 300 ml, 330 ml bottle of soft drink, I am told, has 13 spoons of sugar, which is too much. Which is too much that our body can handle. American Society for Health and American standards say that some 38 grams is the direct sugar max one can take in a day. This is killing that in a single drink. So then I said, okay, I'll go for Diet Coke. It became so bad that every day at 4 o'clock in the evening, even if I'm at home, I would go out and buy a Diet Coke can. Problem with this sugar, which is a chemical sugar, is that normal sugar, my body knows how to process it, how to throw it, how to store it. This sugar, my body machine does not understand what to do. And it lies there, it doesn't get processed properly, and most of these chemical sugars are carcinogenic. Carcinogenic means chemicals that help cancer cancer growth. So diet sugars are definitely a no-no. I mean, there are some sugars which possibly are slightly better than these diet sugars. That are like the plant-based sugars, like stevia, which does not have calories but has the sweet taste. I've tried it. It is not the same taste for the sweet as our normal sugar gives. But if you have a compulsion, then you can use them. Then, as I said, inflammation causing foods. So animal based foods, including milk, are inflammation causing. And recreational eating. Recreation is basically just for the sake of taste, for fun, that you are eating food. Like just for taste. I know it is not good for health, but yeah, but my tongue wants it. It is a great attraction that people have for the food. How do you control it? When you want to control, when you want to improve your health. So this is where I'll tell you my story of 10 years back. So people at home, I had no insurance. So people at home said, no, 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 but as age is increasing, you should have insurance. When you go for insurance, they do your medical test. And then they told me that you have high BP, you have very high blood sugar levels. Fasting was 256, postprandial after food, after 1.5 2 hours after food, was 396. And it's a serious case of diabetes. You will have to be on medications for life. People in my family, most of them are doctors. They came, they told me that, okay, Parag, if you want to live a healthy life up to at least 70 years, then you will have to take these medications and do a lot of things. So started these medications. And then one day I was thinking, what kind of life am I living? Am I a slave to all these things? I felt sad. I want to do something. I want to do social work. I may want to stay in forest. I may want to become. I may want to go to into deep into spirituality and not depend on these external chemicals. The more I depend on other things, I have lesser freedom. I want this freedom. The freedom we talk about when we do that dharana while doing Omkar. I felt so bad. I had tears in my eyes, and I said, "No, I want to fight this. I do not want to become a slave to this." So then I started reading, researching. I found research on what kind of shoes to wear for diabetes because our legs have curvature there. Most of our footwear has flat. If our body, which is created so very well, with such advanced technologies built into it, if it was meant that way, then our feet would have been flat feet. Why is the curvature there? The pressure needs to be distributed. So I found so many ways. I found the diet, exercises. I researched. I found did some of my own experiments, and finally started doing exercise. I used to do 7 course exercise, which used to be running, jogging, yoga, pranayam, swimming, gym exercise. While doing gym exercises, I realized that there are all kinds of muscles can be exercised like in gym without using any of the gym equipments. By using your own hands, your body. For example, this is a resistance. My both hands, different muscles are getting exercise. So I have been wanting to write a book on built-in gymnasium. We have complete gymnasium built-in. We can do every exercise and build body, muscles, everything with lesser side effects than the weight training. So, and I developed some abs, stomach related exercises. They may be existing, but I created a routine. So, if some people want that, we can have a separate session on that. So, once this started, sometimes there used to be some sweet made at home. I would say no to that. But sometimes you get tempted. Now there is temptation. There is temptation and there has to be some fear also to stop that temptation. So there there is a jewelry shop. Some people may be tempted that I'll lift this thing, but there is a fear that there is guard with guns standing there. How did I create this pressure on myself to keep the diet? I told hundreds and thousands of people, I'm going to lose so much weight. I'm going to be free of these medications. I boasted, not because of pride, to create a pressure that because if this does not happen, people will laugh at me. I created pressure on myself. I used to look at myself in mirror, look at my excess fat, and say, shame on you. What kind of life you are living? I used to abuse myself. So this is all mind, body, everything working together. In first month, I started having, after 1 month, I started having low blood pressure. So one of the blood pressure medicines was stopped. Second month, second medicine also was stopped. After third month, I declared that I'm going to stop the diabetic medication. Everyone said, no, you will die. Once the pancreas cells die, by the time you find out half the cells are dead, you can't do anything. But I stopped, and it's been 10 years. So, you can fight, you can correct, and this is my challenge that if you follow right exercise and right healthy patterns, if your case is not completely out of bounds, then you can reverse most of your heart, kidney, lungs diseases with correct diet, correct input. Once this inflammation giving medications, foods are stopped, automatically inflammation will go down, body flows will be better, blood pressure will be normalized, your most of the organs will regenerate. You will do intermittent fasting, it will have its own effects. Intermittent fasting, more details will go to the next session because it did not get into So, so for muscles, we need protein. Though, if not non-vegetarian, we can take protein supplements, people will say. So, protein requirement is a myth. A lot of protein, 80-90% of the protein is recycled. It's not thrown away from the body. Second thing is everything, including your watermelon, also has some proteins. Or dal, etc., have proteins. Problem is any kind of excess fat that you have, you eat fat food. Body knows what to do. It will save it as a fat cells. If you eat, you have sugars, body knows what to do. It can be thrown away or it can be stored by to some extent. It can be stored by your liver. Body has no mechanism to store or process excess protein. The kidney has to process it and throw it out. So excessive proteins will always give you more pressure on kidneys. You just check people with kidney problems, they are told that stop eating soybeans and things like that because they have high proteins. So excessive proteins will give your kidneys problems. So I am very strongly against most of the external supplements. Again, this external supplement like vitamin C, you would say, is separated out, and just like oxygen, it is not best way to absorb it. To absorb it, you should have that vitamin with food with that vitamin, those fruits, those other ingredients. You know, it is said that Gautam Buddha was asked the definition of poison, and his definition of poison was anything in excess of your requirement is poison. So you have too much proteins, it will have effect of poison. There is a medicine called arsenic in homeopathy, where it has good effects, but it's in extremely small quantity. In larger quantities, it is a lethal poison. Excessive power and people behave in poisonous way. We see that in political scenario. Excessive money will change your behavior and will create poison in society, because excessive money for someone means some other people becoming much poorer. So, I mean, why Dr. McDougall's picture had cow's picture there? Because internationally, beef is the biggest food that is eaten. Here in India, that is not a problem, because in India, uh, people have religious feelings towards cow, and we would not, even the non-vegetarian people will not touch cow. Interestingly, I do not understand how and why, but India has now become number one beef exporter. I do not want to get into the political equations and whatever, but that's something which is quite disturbing. So from cow we come to milk. So milk is required for calcium. People will say you need to get calcium. Give give a glass of milk. There are advertisements, and everyone tells. Doctor will tell you. But unfortunately, our medical system does not have courses on nutrition. This is half-baked knowledge taken from here and there. They do not have real deep knowledge about nutrition and diet. Milk has a chemical called casein, which is acidic. To process that, calcium and magnesium is taken from our bones actually, because they create alkali. So to balance that, bone is diluted. So if you see countries like Canada, Denmark, all the countries which are highest milk consuming countries, they have highest cases of osteoporosis. You can check this. This is a verifiable fact. Second bigger problem with milk, I'll tell you, is contamination. Ayurveda talks about milk, Yoga talks about milk as a good food, and I have full respect for these. And it must have been a good food when it was a cooperative diet. Cooperative diet means the cow used to be part of your family. You would not force pregnancy on the cow. When the cow is pregnant and when it gives gives a calf, first milk is given to the calf and then the milk was used. This was cooperative. Cow was happy staying with that person. Even if the cow is not tied, it would not run away. So So it was cooperative, and maybe that time it would have had its own good effects. Now in industrial scenario, cows are bound, given food, and treated as a milk making machine. They are not going to stop for it to get naturally uh, start giving milk. They'll be forced to become pregnant. They are given hormone injections. These hormone injections are definitely carcinogenic materials, proven fact. Then they are milked by machines. Particularly in India, Indian milk has highest blood and pus cells. You can verify this from the web. So that's the milk, and many times because milk is more with Jersey cows, Jersey cow milk is used. Jersey cow milk compared to our milk has some different factors which can cause type 1 diabetes, which is very difficult to reverse and cure. My friend's son is suffering because of that milk, the type 1 diabetes. And he cannot go to school, he cannot work outside, he does everything, learning also from home, because he has to be constantly on those injections, and they can't take risk and let him die because he's without the injections. It's a bad life. So someone really has to have milk, at least cut off that, take desi cow milk. The cow milk we get is not necessarily desi cow milk. So A2 milk it is called. It costs more, but then if you are sure it is a naturally created milk, if you at all want to have, you can do that. Even bigger problem, contamination in milk. So there is more milk sold in India than the number of cows, buffaloes, and milk giving animals are there. And this excess milk is not imported. It is created by using fertilizers and some chemicals, and they pass all milk tests. How to create milk from fertilizers, you can find out on YouTube. You will find out how to make it. You can try, and it will look like milk, taste like milk, will have enough cream on it. So then what to do? Another question I have is that when Diwali is there, Dussehra is there, people are queuing for sweets. Do our cows and buffaloes prepare in advance? Oh, now Diwali is there, let's give more milk. From where does this come? My friend was milk board chairman. He was an IAS officer. He was from my hostel. So he told me that the Baba that who sells cow ghee for a very low price, the amount of ghee he says there are not that many cows in India. Okay. Another thing is you cannot sell that cow ghee so cheap because Indian cow milk has so less fat that 20 to 25 liters you will have to use of milk to get 1 liter of fat. So if at all one has to occasionally use, you can use A2 cow ghee, which costs maybe 4 or 5 times the normal ghee, but in small amounts. If you have to, if you can do without it, that's the perfect diet. So there are alternative milks, like milk from almond, soybean, cashew, coconut, walnut, anything that has some oil and some protein in it. Even oats, peanuts, anything. Now we'll come to schedule of eating. So breakfast like king, how many of us believe? I don't know. And then decent lunch and less dinner. Less dinner is fine. But breakfast of as a king is not accepted by Ayurveda. Ayurveda sees a direct link between sunrise and sunset to our body mechanism. Our Agni in stomach, it says Agni is the fire. Fire is basically the digestive power. Is best when the sun is at the top. So that is the main food that you should be having. Either you should skip breakfast to achieve intermittent fasting and eat at 10, 11, 12, whatever you can do. Or you have lesser breakfast and or a breakfast that is easier to digest, which has more fruits, and then heavier lunch and lesser dinner. And then before sunrise, so according to Ayurveda, before sunrise, because after sunset, it is not, there is no Agni natural agni which is there. So then you ask your body to change its behavior, and then it has its side effects. Like there was Chovihar in that Jains are following, which is to do with sunrise, sunset, but it is a Ayurvedic principle basically, or yoga principle. So just by stopping to eat late night, so many people have controlled some of the diseases to some extent and reduced their weight. I found that Thailand, most people are slim. One thing is they are eating a lot of vegetables and fruits. Lot of fruits they eat. They keep eating every hour or so. At workplace also they have this fruits and salad box next to them, and they eat their night meal around 6 o'clock in the evening. So you'll find out. You can see on net. You can find out, or if you have visited, you would find out that they are one of the slimmest people. Then fasting. So fasting will come to intermittent fasting. So your sleep and your last food should have at least 3 hours. If not possible, then 2 hours difference. If that is not done, then your body starts converting things into fat. Second thing is the digestive systems work in such a way that your efficiency of sexual organs also becomes lesser. So if you want to have normal life, there has to be a gap between your last meal and sleeping. So as I said that excessive vitamins tablets, doctor will say no problem. A doctor had told me when I had mouth ulcers and all that okay, if one tablet is not enough, eat 5 6 tablets at a time. A proper well-known famous doctor had told me. Okay, so which is a very wrong advice. Anything in excess is poison, as I told you. So then what about water? The current philosophy is that drink as much water as possible, drink a lot of water. 6 liters of water you should have daily. No, water intake and outgo is based on your lifestyle, your thing, and excess water also is not good for. According to Ayurveda, even water has to be digested. So when you are eating food, you have dals and you have some curries, there is some water there. If at all you cannot help, you can have a sip of water at the most. But ideal scenario is sometime before food and after having food, at least half an hour, if not 1 hour, you should not have water, so that your digestive juices are not diluted and the proper work is done. Late night before sleeping, drinking a bottle of water will have pressure on your kidneys. So excess, anything in excess, including water, is not good. Another myth is leafy vegetables and leafy greens are always good. Have leafy vegetables as much as you can. There is a cartoon series Popeye which shows that the guy has spinach, palak, and then he becomes stronger. Somewhere deeply I had impact because of that. So I started believing palak is very good. Of course it is good. But whenever possible I would have a palak vegetable. Okay, not because of that cartoon, but somewhere that constant bombarding is there. No, that this is healthy, this is healthy. All raw foods, all vegetables, including fruity vegetables, are healthy. In Charak Samhita, it is written that excessive of leafy vegetables will give you joint problems. So, again, nothing excess. I know that the green leafy vegetables, if you eat raw, then they'll give you fiber and it will help your system smoothen out. But again, there has to be the right form of that. Now, since we are running out of time, I'll not go into juicing, soups, etc. So, what is the ideal way of intake? One thing is intermittent fasting. Intermittent fasting, I'll explain to you what intermittent fasting is. So, suppose my first meal in the morning I have at 10 o'clock, last meal I have at 7 o'clock. So, 10, to 7 uh, is 9 hours. Okay, 10 to 10 is 8, 12 hours. So 10 to 7 is 9 hours. That means rest of the time, that is 15 hours, 15 plus 9, 24. 15 hours I am not eating anything. Now this munching something, having little bit here and there, you can do that in these 9 hours, but not in those. So that is complete fasting. Now what happens? Now is 15 hours ideal? Ideal is 16 hours, but you can try to do 12, 14, 15, 16 as much as you can. What happens is body starts getting deprived of food and starts demanding proteins. Now, when body is deprived of proteins, as I told you, it's a magical, fantastic piece of engineering the body. What it will try to do is, this is a process called autophagy. Autophagy is a process which is like, uh, which what it does is it converts your sick cells, cells which are not doing well, which are unwell basically, dying cells. It converts them into proteins, and then body produces new fresh cells. So this causes rejuvenation of your body, and this will help in removing many of your diseases. This single intermittent fasting is a powerful thing. So you need to do intermittent fasting. Now how many meals? 2 meals, 3 meals? 3 meals you can have if you want breakfast, something in between, or you want to follow that munching a few every few hours. But keep your eating area to this 8 to 9 hours or 10 hours, depending on what is possible for you. Start your morning with hot water, some stretching. In fact, once you get up, you need to charge your mind. For a minute or so, you can meditate. You can do this and then get up. I can guarantee you your day will go more fresh than a normal day. Then you have hot water and do some stretching, which will help cleansing your body, helping your body getting uh, what could we say? Uh, you will have ease in clearing your junk from your body. Then you do walking, jogging, walk, jog, workout, but preferably outside, not on a treadmill. You need to have that sunlight. Again, I told you that you can take vitamin D tablets, but the best form is the natural form. You can get sunlight. You need to sweat. If you are always in cool, nice atmosphere, then all your pores, which are working as an excretory organ, this is one of the skin is one of the excretory organs, and it does half work of your kidney. If that is not done, the kidney has more pressure. So you need to sweat. You keep your shower closed for 2 years and try to start it, and you will find out many of the holes are clogged. Same thing you are doing with your body. So you need to sweat out. After sweating out, then when you have bath, after bath is the right time to do yoga. Do 5, 10, 15 minutes, half an hour, 1 hour, whatever is possible. If it is impossible, you can do it at midnight also, but you should do yoga every day. So juicing theory I will not get into, but fruits, as I said, fruits are the most ethical and most healthy form of food we can have. You should have fruits not after having food. After having food, you have had stomach full of food, and then you add additional fruits there is not the best way. You start with fruits. After fruits, you have your meals. Now, among fruits, which are the better ones? So there are some which are genetically modified, and being genetically modified, they are seedless. So seedless fruits are not something that tree wants. So it is no more a cooperative food. It is still better, and it is like other vegetable food. It may have some benefits, but if you can, you should have a non modified fruit. Second thing is, there are some fruits which are available in extremely cold countries. So when I eat that fruit and throw the seeds, they are not going to germinate, they are not going to convert into plant in my place. So cooperative wise, better fruits. Even you can have those fruits, the like berries and cherries. They have some phytochemicals. They have some antioxidants. They're very good for health. But you should have fruits. You can have fruits which are made in your area, so which are more suitable for your body and they will be more beneficial. People will tell you they don't have banana, they have more sugar. Utter nonsense. These people are half cooked knowledge, and many top doctors are giving this kind of advices. So eat evening meal as early as possible. Then after food, some people have a habit of half an hour, 1 hour walk. Why do they have to do that? Because they eat, possibly overeat, and then makes them uneasy, and this makes them feel better. After eating food, maximum blood is pumped towards your digestive system, and if you do walk, excessive walking, you are pressurizing your heart. At least people with heart problems should not walk long after food. And even otherwise, you should have short walk. You're walking and running, you have morning time, evening time, you can do that. But after food, you have a short walk. There is a word in Indian culture, Shatapavali, which says 100 steps. 100 is too less, but few hundred, couple of hundred steps you can have. And then you can sit in Vajrasan for a few minutes, which is best for digestion. Then avoid white stuff at night. White stuff like white rice, curd, milk. Anyway, these are bad, we are saying, but they are worse at night. Eat multicolor, not added colors, but vegetables. You have yellow, red, like there is tomato, there are greens, various shades. Eat multicolor food. You don't have to count nutrition. Multicolor food will give you multiple nutrition. Not in one day. You don't have to have all colors one day. But overall, your food should have multiple colors of ingredients. Include antioxidants, walnuts, flax seeds. Walnuts and flax seeds will give you omega 3 acids for vegetarians. And these are some of the essentials. Then, how do I eat chemical free? Because these chemicals are things, I'll make a claim now that in our childhood, let's say 40 years back, 30 years back, or the old heroes, the Amitabh, Dharmendra era, how many cases of cancer have you seen in those famous stars? I don't remember. Current stars, I know so many like Irfan, and there are so many who have got cancer, some got treated, some did not get treated. Many of this generation has more cancer. Reason is the chemical filled food, pesticides sprayed fruits, and the contaminated milk. Milk is the biggest reason of increased, industrial milk is the biggest reason for increased cancer cases in today's life. Anyone wants to challenge that, they can discuss with me after the session is over. So chemical free is eat organic as much as possible. You will say organic is expensive, it costs double in India. Unfortunately, yes. In US and all, I saw that cost was something like 20% more. More people start eating organic, I think mass production cost will come down. But it's your choice that you want to spend on this or spend on medication. And then they will simply loot you. You cannot imagine the way the medical industry will rob you. So I was telling the first batch that like I have seen so many heart attack cases in younger people in last couple of years. Why? Of course, the reason is COVID and COVID vaccination. The vaccination wasn't tested for years. A vaccination has to be tested that long term. What is it going to make? What kind of changes it is going to make to your body? You are throwing in some genetic structure in your body, a kind of virus to train your white blood cells, and what all it is going to do, what other side effects, we do not know. Pfizer has in court agreed that 1 out of 800 people vaccinated by Pfizer COVID vaccine get heart attack. So one is getting actual heart attack, 80 may be actually getting some heart trouble. Attack is the final stage. And in my family, I took my second vaccination. I used to jog for 2 kilometers every day as a routine. Next day, I go in 200 meters, I'm breathless. I'm not breathless after 2 3 kilometers also. So I thought this may be temporary, maybe something wrong. Then I try evening, I try next day. It is going on. Then they decided, my family members said that no, we need to do tests and all that. But by that time, my mother had even bigger heart problems. We had to go through her surgery, bypass surgery. So this is not something cooked up. You can check the uh, statistics on that. That vaccinations have unnecessary vaccinations sometimes can cause some deep-rooted issues in your body. So what do I have in my hands? To correct my intake, to avoid chemicals, to do exercise, to have better lifestyle, so that I am not closer to these things. So, but you can't get everything. So you can at least avoid fruits that are surely known to be non-organic. For example, grapes, they say require a lot of uh, pesticides. Without that, you cannot have a grape farming. So somewhere they may be making enclosed atmosphere organic grapes. You can have them, but these grapes you should avoid as much as possible. Then there are liquids available in market, veggie wash or that kind of thing, or you can make it at home. Simple baking soda in water. You can make that liquid and wash your vegetables and fruits. At least external pesticides are removed. The injections of steroids that are given to the fruits and trees, you cannot do anything, but at least external pesticides can be removed. Avoid milk unless you have your own cow. Avoid supplements. Then biscuits, ready-made foods, nutrition supplements, all these, how can they stay? You keep your fruit and 2 days it will rot. You keep your roti or bread and 2 3 days it will rot, which is natural. Bacteria's, do you want to eat something which bacteria also do not want to eat? So these biscuits and all, they have all preservatives. Preservatives are chemicals your body cannot process. As much as possible, stay away from these preserved foods. So-called fake breakfast foods and cereals, which have lot of sugars and pseudonyms like high fructose corn syrup, is nothing but sugar. And so there are 40 different names with which they make put sugar, and they fool you. But they want you to get addicted to that sugar and keep eating that. Then avoid diet food like chemical sugars. Body does not know to process these kind of things. I try to wind up as early as possible. Weight management we'll do in the next session. Diabetes, I'll give a short thing. In detail, we'll take it in the next session. But diabetes, doctors tell you these fruits are good, these fruits are not good. Don't have banana, don't have this, don't have that. This is higher glycemic index. Glycemic index means what percent of that gets converted into a glucose. As I said, that your vada pav is a bigger culprit. Pav gets converted 70%, 72% gets converted to sugar. But it is important how is it going to be released immediately, or it is most of the fruit sugar is a different kind of sugar and it gets released not so directly. It comes with fiber. So I was told guava is a bad food. Guava has so much of positive vitamins. You have to see pros and cons. And glycemic index is not the only factor. You have to see glycemic load. You have to see fulfillment factor. There is some food which has very high glycemic index, but one fruit and I'm going to get satisfied. Another thing has a lower glycemic index, but to eat I would be eating a bowl full of that fruit. What is going to give me more glucose? So you have to consider all these. We'll go into that later, because I think we are running out of time. We are already over time. So most of the doctors I have gone to, when I had issues with my diabetes, I had gone to a well-known doctor, and he had told me these fruits you eat, these you don't eat, and he told me all things were not necessarily correct. Most of the fruits which are in natural form will not be bad. You can't have too many bananas, of course. You don't want, your body is already processing, ability to process sugar is lower. You do not want to do a overload of that. But these things you can have in moderation, anything in moderation. There is a theory that short meals every 2 hours will help in diabetes. I've seen it work. Some people believe, some don't. I do not have scientific detailed research to prove one way or other, so I will not talk about it. But for diabetes, exercise is a must. And then we'll go into how should you walk, what kind of footwear you should have, what kind of acupressure you can use, um, what kind of meditation you can do to activate your pancreas, which asanas to do. We'll get into that next time. Hemoglobin, anemia. So something 11 point something may be the right level of hemoglobin, and people start giving medication when it is 10.5, which is wrong. Average Indians have slightly lower hemoglobin level. You can't go by world standards. Everybody is different. Every structure is different. So instead of 11, 10.5, no problem. 10, maybe you change your food and try to take more hemoglobin foods, red foods. Your spinach, methi also has um, red vegetables, tomato, beetroot. There are so many that you can find out from that natural sources of. But do not take iron tablets. Do not take the dangerous medicines unless it's a very critical stage. So I was hearing one Ayurvedic doctor's lecture, and he claimed, I'm saying this because I have not tested this myself, but I have fair amount of belief in this. He said the reason for more kids getting specs at very early age, one of the reason is that their mothers when they were pregnant were given iron tablets, which was not done earlier. Earlier they were given iron filled foods, like there is nachni, that is ragi, which has a lot of iron. There are so many foods which will have natural iron. You cannot have separated iron and give him from. Another thing is uh, the nutrients, the vitamins in tablet, the chemicals may be same chemical, but the molecular forms are many times different. So the natural food is always better. So for anemia, for slight variation, you should not even look at it. For higher variation, you can change your food. You can do oxygenation, aerobic exercises, where oxygen is one of the important parts to process your food and give you the necessary ions. So I told you my story, right? Did I tell you that beta blockers? When I read the literature, beta blockers are one of the blockers, one of the types of blood pressure machines, medications, hypertension medications. Beta blockers, the documentation says, will increase your chance of getting diabetes. By how much? 100%? 200%? So we don't know. That they would not write. But I believe beta blockers will almost certainly give you diabetes. Diabetes medicine, glucomate, increases chance of cancer. So do you want to become part of this nexus, this vicious circle, and become life member of hospital and live your life, work hard to earn money so that you can pay for your medication, or you want to change your lifestyle? You have to understand the pain in all this that happens so that you would be motivated to try and change your lifestyle. How the medications work? Okay, so I'll again take the car example, that fuel is bad, engine issue, so there is sound, so you put silencer there. Has the engine issue been solved? No, there is black smoke coming out, so you turn it, put it under the car, so I can't see the black smoke. But the car will keep suffering, the engine will keep suffering and will die earlier. We do not want to do that. Similarly, when I have some problem, my pancreas is not functioning properly, so my stomach is not efficient, so there is a bit of acidity, so I have a headache. And I take painkiller to stop this headache is as stupid as turning my nozzle down so that people can't see the smoke. So you need to attack on the root cause and be free of medication. I am saying free. I am not saying free of only allopathy. I do not believe that anything, any kind of medication can be completely without side effects. Every medicine will have side effects. Show me one knife which can only cut fruits, but if you try to cut hand, it will not cut hand. It is not possible. So everything which has some effect can have a side effect. Yes, some of the pathies may actually target the root cause and they may be better than allopathy. That's a subject of different discussion. Okay, so basically you need to have that some meditation, yoga, bath, eating habits, keeping last meal as early as possible, gap, and getting a good sunlight. Okay, so I think we'll close this. People may have questions. It's been 1.5 hours. There is no interaction, so I don't know if it was useful. People found it useful, not useful. So, any questions? Otherwise, we'll do a concluding Omkar. Next time, we'll go in depths of diabetes and sugar and then milk and how to prepare at low price alternatives of milk. So, I'll not just tell you to stop, I'll give you alternatives also. No questions? People who used to ask questions in normal sessions also are quiet today. Fill in. The easiest thing I told you today was that after you get up, sit for 5 minutes, 3 minutes, 2 minutes, 1 minute, half a minute, whatever you can. Just sit quietly, charge those batteries. You do not want external power banks to support you. Charge your batteries of your mind and then do this. Just one single act will make your day better. Okay, so if no questions, then